Greetings and welcome. I am Sichach. I'm going to take you through punctuated equilibrium theory in advocacy. The scope of the presentation will start from the introduction, significance of punctuated equilibrium in advocacy, critiques of punctuated equilibrium, conclusion, and finally, the references. The term punctuated equilibrium was first used by Gold and Eldredge in their 1977 paper. The theory was presented in the field of evolutionary biology. They defined the term as the notion that evolution occurs in spurts rather than the slow but constant course proposed by Darwin, which was named gradualism. Long periods of inactivity with minimal activity in terms of extinction or development of new species are broken up by brief spurts of activity. Gold and Eldredge in that paper gave punctuated equilibrium three qualities. First is stasis. Stasis is the constant state of something. And then the second quality was punctuation. Those parts of growth, that's what Eldredge referred to as punctuation. And thirdly, punctuated equilibrium had relative frequency. In short, it's stasis punctuation in a certain rhythm. In 1993, Baumgartner and Jones borrowed and applied the term explaining changes in political shifts of policy. They stated that punctuated equilibrium explained the observation that political processes are generally characterized by stability and incrementalism, but they produce periods of large-scale departures from the past. The periods are not necessarily from crisis. Punctuated equilibrium framework. You will see the diagram about what I was talking about. It's punctuation as state of stasis, punctuation as state of stasis, punctuation as state of stasis. This is what was adapted into the field of policy making. So the two main arguments for punctuated equilibrium theory are, firstly, no political systems features continuous debate on all issues that it faces. Even in Kenya, you will find us discussing about GMOs. Now, like recently, on recent news, you're discussing about the state of the nature by which people are evacuated from Athi River. Yeah, it keeps shifting. There's no political system that can discuss all issues simultaneously. So rather, political discussions are typically divided into a number of issue-oriented subsystems of policy. These subsystems can be dominated by a single interest and can undergo transformation. Competition among various interests can disintegrate over time or build up their autonomy in relation to others. Secondly, the conservative nature of institutions and status quo make it very difficult for gradual social change. Baumgartner and Jones argued that mobilization is often required to overcome these entrenched interests. At the national level, advocacy frequently focuses on administrative and corporate mobilization via parliamentary debates and other political events. Those are press conferences, news coverage, TV, radio talk show, popular TV series, summits, conferences between various categories of government and civil society organizations, patent organizations, and healthcare providers, or official memoranda and partnership meetings. The explanation for the same political institutions producing both stasis and punctuation can be found in the processes of agenda setting, especially the dynamics produced by bounded rationality and serial information processing. Periods of equilibrium or near stasis, this is when an issue is captured by a subsystem, and periods of disequilibrium, that is when an issue is forced onto the macro political agenda, are included in punctuated equilibrium theory. When an issue is on the macro political agenda, small changes in objective circumstances can result into large changes in policy, and we call this positive feedback process. So let's look at what is the significance of punctuated equilibrium in advocacy. First, identifying good advocacy windows. Secondly, helps in adapting strategy in advocacy. Third, in determining resource allocation for advocacy efforts. And Fourth, building coalitions with other advocacy groups. In advocacy, there are windows of opportunity where significant policy or social changes become possible. Advocacy efforts should be ready to seize these windows when they happen. For instance, in the field of environmental advocacy, punctuated equilibrium theory can help advocates comprehend the irregular but crucial moments when public awareness and concern for environmental issues surge. These spikes can occur in response to environmental disasters or prominent media coverage, leading to a rapid change in public sentiment and subsequent policy action. Advocacy efforts should be adaptable and ready to change strategies when necessary. Punctuated equilibrium encourages advocates to be flexible and shift their approaches to better align with the evolving landscape. Thirdly, determining resource allocation. Advocacy groups have limited resources and they must allocate these resources wisely. Punctuated equilibrium theory suggests that resource allocation should be flexible with a focus on intensive actions during times of significant change or opportunity. Lastly, helps in building coalitions with other advocacy groups. Advocacy groups can work in coalitions to collectively adapt and respond to external pressures, such as changes in political leadership or shifts in public opinion. By being aware of the punctuated nature of change, alliances can have a bigger voice and impact when it is the right moment, or as we say, in a period of punctuation. So what are the critiques leveled against the punctuated equilibrium theory? First, lack of agency. Secondly, it is descriptive by design. And third, it underrates the importance of incremental changes. We're going to go through each of the critiques. The first critique centers on the absence of an agency element in punctuated equilibrium theory. While the theory acknowledges the role of policy entrepreneurs, it's argued that it does not sufficiently address how human choices and actions translate into observed punctuated equilibrium patterns. Critics contend that the theory might be too mechanistic, failing to account for the intricate interplay of human agency, decision-making, and the symbolic and emotional aspects of policy change. Second, punctuated equilibrium theory is descriptive by design. Another fundamental criticism is that punctuated equilibrium theory in advocacy, as adapted by Baumgartner and Jones, is primarily descriptive in nature. It is argued that the theory excels at providing a descriptive account of policy change patterns over time, but falls short in explaining the underlying causal mechanism driving these changes. Critics assert that it doesn't offer a clear and robust explanatory framework for understanding why policies evolve the way they do. Third, it underrates the importance of incremental changes. Punctuated equilibrium emphasizes rapid changes in policy, potentially leading to the neglect of gradual incremental policy changes. Critics argue that policy evolution often involves a combination of both punctuated and gradual changes, and focusing solely on the former can provide an incomplete view of the policy process. Chana 2013 suggests that policy change is always gradual and defines punctuations as simply policy reforms. In conclusion, the application of punctuated equilibrium theory to the realm of advocacy provides a valuable lens through which we can better comprehend the dynamics of policy change and social transformation. Just as in the natural world, where species evolve in punctuated bursts of adaptation, advocacy efforts often experience periods of relative stability, punctuated by sudden rapid shifts in public opinion and public policy direction. Understanding these moments of advocacy punctuations is crucial for advocacy groups, as it empowers them to be strategic, adaptable, responsive to the ever-changing landscape of public policy. To end this discussion, there is a question for you. Can you share a local case of an advocacy campaign that took advantage of a punctuation for a major policy change? These are the references for the work. You can check them out later. Thank you very much.